begin our third session with Dr. JANIS ESHOTS from the London Islamic College of Advanced Studies.
Well, thank you. At another conference which was held by, again, TÜRKKAD, I think, in 2005, I already had an opportunity to present a paper, the topic of which has some similarity with the theme which I'm going to discuss today. Probably some of you remember this was a discussion on the tale of the cookie from the third volume of the Masnavi, and in the first section of my paper, I would say it represents a kind of summary of this earlier paper, which hasn't hitherto been published, unfortunately. But as I see, for the time limits, I will not be able to present or rather read out the entire text of my paper, so I will probably skip most of this section, which is indeed a summary of this earlier paper, and just limiting myself to a few general remarks and regarding this tale of the cookie. Rumi's explicit statement at the end of the tale of the cookie, Rumi's explicit statement, it seems to come down to this, that among God's friends there exist at least two different groups. The people of the answered prayer, Ahl Du'ai Mustajab in Persian, and the people of approval, Ahl Rida, so means people who approve whatever God does. And then, another remark, it consists in this. It is easy to notice that there is similarity between the tale of the cookie in the Masnavi and the tale of the unnamed God's friend, allegedly Khidr, in the 18th surah of the Quran, verses 60 to 82, and Rumi himself, in fact, interpolates a brief passage about Moses and Khidr in the tale of the cookie. And remarkably, the setting of both tales is also familiar. In case of Khidr and Moses, it is also described as the junction of the two seas, Majma al-Bahrain, and in case of the cookie, this is seashore. The very general conclusions as we can draw from this tale of the cookie is, among mankind, God has chosen a group of people as his friends, or more literally clients, awliya. These chosen friends, in respect to their nearness to God, have different ranks. The common people are only aware of and profit from the existence of this group or rank which is closest to them, namely the people whose prayers are answered. Above this rank, however, there is at least one other higher rank, the people of approval. They are unseen to the common people, but are seen by the people of the prayers, answered prayers, who acknowledge their superiority over themselves, but due to their spiritual imperfection or the traces of ego left, they cannot stay in permanent touch with them. Rather, their meetings are brief and irregular or occasional. When they occur, they bring to the people of prayer both bliss and suffering, bliss because they commit those who are superior to them, and suffering because they realize they are not able to follow their ways. And now I proceed to discussion on Sultan Veled, in particular to his treatment of the hierarchy of saints. Sultan Veled's three Masnavis, Ibtida-name, Rubab-name, and Intihan-name, to my opinion, should be treated as an integral whole and envisaged as an extension and elaboration of Rumi's Masnavi Ma'navi. This means, in the former's writings, one will hardly come across entirely new ideas and bold reinterpretations of Rumi's seminal teachings. The principal merit of Sultan Veled's works appears to consist in their elucidating certain aspects of Mevlana's doctrine as presented in the Masnavi. And one of such elucidations is found in the discussion on God's beloved Ma'shukani Haq. Although Rumi calls Shams Tabrizi Ma'shuki Haq, it does not discuss, to the best of my knowledge, this issue in a systematic way. But this is Sultan Veled who does. One might think that Ma'shuk is more or less a synonym to Majub. Majub translates into English as the one drawn near or close by the real, by God. However, upon a closer examination, terms Ma'shuk and Majub appear not to be identical. Majub is known to the common people, who are often shocked by his ecstatic utterances and scandalous behavior. And it can perhaps be asserted that in this case, in case of Majub, we are dealing with one who is more or less overwhelmed, so to say, by God's favor that has come upon him. The intensity and the quantity of the received favor by far exceeding the capacity of the receptacle. As a result, the receptacle or the receiving vessel is either on the verge of breaking or has already actually broken. And it is to this situation that the famous remark in Persian, Bade ibrikra mishkanat, the wine is breaking the vessel, refers. A ma'shuk can be a majzub, but he does not necessarily have to. To illustrate this, let us consider two God's beloveds, who also happen to be the beloved of Rumi, namely Shams and Salahuddin Zarkub. Whereas the former, Shams Tabrizi, can hardly be described as the majzub, since his words are usually well considered, and he expresses his thoughts with a great accuracy and precision, as Maqalat Shams testifies. The case is often the opposite with the latter, Salahuddin, as many of his poems and utterances fixed in, say, Manaqib, etc., indicate to this. Well, suffices to mention his exclamation in the private, "Will you, oh my God, not leave me alone even there?" Probably, or supposedly, because he saw some flash or some glimmer, which he assumed to be that of the divine light. The division of saints into journeyers, Salikan, who try to approach the real through their own efforts, and those drawn near, Majzuban, who are attracted by God himself, thus appears to be at least insufficient, if not incorrect, which I'm not claiming. And hence, Rumi and Sultan Veled attempt to offer a more precise and more comprehensive classification of the saints, and this attempt seems to be well justified and reasonable. So, Sultan Veled divides saints into manifest and hidden, more or less identifying the former, manifest saints, with the lovers of the real Ashikani Haq, and the latter, the hidden saints, with his beloved Ma'shukani Haq. It appears that the saints who, like the cookie, intercede with the real on behalf of the creation typically belong to the class of his lovers, whereas those who pertain to the class of his beloved hardly ever directly interfere in the affairs of the created world, remaining completely unknown to the latter. Sultan Veled, following Rumi, explains this by God's jealousy. He will not show his closest friends to the creation, as the king will not show his wives to the common people. Importantly, it appears that both the company, suhbah, of the saint of a higher degree and the subsequent separation, firaq, from him are inseparable for the perfection in most cases, for the perfection and ripening of the saint of a lower degree. This, in a nutshell, to me, seems to be the principal lesson of the tale of Khidr and Moses, with which Sultan Veled deals in two separate episodes in Ibtidaname, and as well as the tale of the cookie and the 7 hidden saints in Rumi's Masnari. One cannot help seeing a parallel again between Khidr and Moses from one side and Shams and Mevlana from the other. In fact, more than one hint to that effect is found in the Ibtidaname. As a result, one is encouraged to view the separation which took place between Shams and Mevlana, regardless of whether it happened because the former was killed by the latter's jealous disciples or because of the former's deliberate decision to secretly depart, so the latter seems more feasible. This separation seems to have been indeed an indispensable stage of Rumi's ripening for teshudden. So he's becoming a perfect friend of God. Then, the tale of Mahmud and Ayaz appears to contain another important allegory describing the relationship between two saints belonging to different degrees. This time, however, we are dealing with the happy type of relationship which does not require separation for the perfecting of the saint of the lower degree. Ayaz obeys to Mahmud completely and does his bidding willingly and implements it fully and without having the slightest reservation. The fact that there are so many references to Mahmud and Ayaz in the discourses of Shams Tabrizi, Maqalat Shams, tells us, to me, that Shams undoubtedly would have preferred this sort of relationship, namely, perfecting and nurturing that does not require separation between the spiritual guide and his disciple, if Mevlana would have been ready for it. But apparently his preparedness was not refined to the extent and degree that would have permitted to dispense with their separation. The latter is the only way to refine one's spiritual capacity and to clean, so to say, the mirror of one's heart from the rust of heedlessness and selfishness and vanity and such like things, which we commonly refer to as rust. The basic structure of the hierarchy of science, as envisaged by Sultan Veled, as it was mentioned above, so consists of two parts: hidden and manifest saints, or the lovers of God and His beloved. Each of these parts, in turn, consists of 3 subparts or degrees. I will now quote a few verses of Sultan. Know that the lovers have 3 degrees, the first of which is high, the second intermediate, and the third low. Likewise, the station of the beloved also has 3 parts, but all of them are deeply hidden. To all inhabitants of the world, the Creator reveals the stages of the lovers, but not such as they really are, because this state is quite deeply hidden. Although outwardly all they are well known, inwardly they are hidden and lack any mark. Like God Himself, they are simultaneously manifest and hidden. Therefore, the creatures do not know them as they really are. The end of quote. Thus, even the manifestedness of God's lovers is only apparent, and so, for this reason, deceiving. The true inner states remain unknown to the common people. What is known to them is only their ecstatic utterances, shadhiyat, and sometimes provocative behavior, not the spiritual meaning they witness and not the pleasure they experience in their drunkenness. Each of these then spiritual degrees of God's lovers and beloveds is described again briefly when it comes to the beloved. Sultan Veled says, the first degree of the beloved was shown to the chosen lovers. So the chosen lovers of the highest 3rd degree have some idea or notion of what beloved, God's beloved is. The second one was not shown to anyone. No one ever heard its name. The third one remained completely hidden. It was never revealed to anyone in both worlds. We are then told that Shams Tabrizi belonged exactly to the 3rd and highest degree of God's beloved. Shams Tabrizi belonged to this third degree, sitting in it like a jewel sits in a ring. Of course, the external Shams Tabrizi, his appearance, manner of behavior, etc., was well known to many people in Konya and elsewhere. But Sultan Veled has in mind here is apparently his spiritual station, not apparently, but for sure, his spiritual station with God. Now, we have been told about that even the chosen can never hope to see the beloved of the highest degree, to recognize their true spiritual rank. Hence, the question arises, if so, does it mean that Rumi also belongs to God's beloved rather than to the lovers? And if so, does Rumi also belong to the highest and third degree of God's beloved? I would answer the question as follows. Undoubtedly, Rumi belongs to God's beloved. However, he does differ with Shams in spiritual rank, so he cannot belong to the same degree as Shams, otherwise this encounter of the latter would not have caused such tremendous simultaneously happiness and tumult and then separation. Then the remaining part of my paper deals with Sultan Veled's other idea with two journeys of God's friends, one of which is journey towards God, Sir Allah, and then second one is journey in God, Sir Fi Allah. But again, I'm not going to discuss this in any detail, just referring briefly and making a very simple and simultaneously confusing, conclusion. So, God's friends or the changed ones perceive each other not as physical entities or material bodies, but as light or rays of light which are turned in different directions and possess different intensity. And these lights of God permanently seek each other and flee from each other, mix with each other and repulse each other, unite and separate, merge and divide. This interaction, which we observe in the world of material bodies, is but a pale reflection of the interaction in the world of meaning, the world of immaterial lights. From this standpoint, Moses or the cookie's search for the hidden friends of God can be treated as the light seeking another, stronger and more intense light. In other words, this is only one of the countless manifestations of the universal law of the journey in God. It is not a saint's own choice, even I would say, to unremittingly seek for other saints. It is incumbent upon him, by virtue of his being light, to seek light, and then to what we arrive at. What initially appears to be an ascending finite ladder or hierarchy, at some point turns itself into an infinite open space for never-ending wandering. And hence, since Sultan Veled's teaching on the hierarchy of science, it appears, rests on the paradox of this perpetual metamorphosis, seeing and witnessing light, which is simultaneously, which witnessing is simultaneously hijab, so a veil, and it is a new discovery or new vision. So we end, or rather stop at this paradox. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Eshots. Teşekkür ederiz.